About time, right? Oh my goodness. What has it been? 3 weeks? I can't even remember at this point. Um, August hits and I just lose interest and I start rearranging the house. You don't even want to see my house right now. Um, it's because I'm still going through stuff where they're just August is always almost like a nesting for the fall type of thing for me. And I lose interest in pretty much everything online and just want to concentrate on other things or nothing at all. So anyway, um, I have been doing some research, believe it or not. I have been doing that. No, you guys know. If you know me, you know me, right? Um, there's been things just kind of going through the internet, and there's a couple of things that have been bothering me. Uh, One is, and if I clap here in a minute, it is because there is a mosquito that I need to get. It has been so humid here that the mosquitoes are healthy. Yeah. Anyway, I've been looking at the connections between the Norse and the Hebrew, uh, the 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 runes and letters and concepts, mythological. You guys know how I feel about that stuff. Just there's a lot there, and then I've been really looking into the words that we use and the spelling, of course, and what we call ourselves, right? And there's been a lot of issues. I think one thing that just really set me off last week is I've been watching this one. I don't think I got it. Um, if I have a smudge on my nose, then that have dead bodies on my nose. It'll be great. Um, can you guys see it? There's this gal, she's on TikTok and she's also on Substack. And she came out of witchcraft and has, the way she puts it is she has found Jesus. Okay. And she's been really talking about the stuff that believers don't understand about witchcraft. In the process, she's been attacked by people who call themselves Christians. And I am ready to start applying Revelation 2:9 and 3:9 to those who say that they're Christians and are not. Okay? I think it's talking about something else specifically, but at this point in time, it can be talking about that too. And if you know, you know, it's the same people basically running all of it. So I've been trying to give a little bit of encouragement in my comments. I'm not sure exactly where she's going to be going with all of this. The last and I'm not like watching every video she pops up with. So if you've seen her and you've seen some questionable stuff, I'm not endorsing her or anything. I just, she found Jesus, praise his Lord, praise Yahweh. I'm happy about that. And she's been attacked by people who say that they're Christians. I'm not surprised. But then she's doing like so many others have done, she's rejecting Christianity completely. And it's like, I get it. I think our problem is in the terminology, especially with the young people. Now, I'm going to assume that the majority of you who watch me on a regular basis are Gen X or boomers. Yeah, I'm just going to assume that you're all in that category. I don't know how many millennials and Gen Z I have that have the patience for my stuttering and the fact that I don't look perfect. Because as much as they think the rest of us are judgmental, they are the most judgmental generations I think I have ever seen. So if you are one of that generation and you feel like I'm being, overboard on this, please do leave a comment because seriously, that's what I've seen. And it may go both ways. We may have the older generations seeming like they're really judgmental to the younger ones, and the younger ones seem like they're really judgmental to us. I just consistently hear this that we need to be tolerant, that we need to be accepting. This isn't new. My mother said this stuff. She said the same stuff. The hippie generation. The hippies said the same thing. Nobody accepts me for who I am. Um, and we want to be tolerant and we want to accept everybody, right? Which always sounds good, but very seldom is it a two-way street. What I found in the hippies and what I'm seeing in the younger generations is I want you to accept me for whatever mess I make of myself and everything around me. But I have no desire or feel no um, obligation to accept you or anything about you or any of the mess that you have in your life or around your life. Okay? And I think a lot of the issue that we have with the younger ones, definitely, at least with the hippies, we were all speaking the same language, basically. I mean, I know there were some hippieisms, okay? I don't get me wrong. Uh, the Beverly Hillbillies hit that. I know, poor Opie. He's very unhappy because his girl has left him for the day. I'm home alone. Anyway, he's very sad. So if he starts howling, which he has been, so he's fine. He's just very sad. He worries about her. So anyway, yeah, don't start. Shh, I'm recording. You're worse than a child. So, yeah, the Beverly Hillbillies did a really good job of showing how the hippies had their own language that they were speaking, and Jed and Granny didn't understand, what they were saying half the time. And we're kind of in that situation again, other than instead of making up new words like groovy or whatever, the younger generation is redefining everything for their own purposes. I wonder sometimes if they even, we were told in school that if we didn't understand a word or if we used a word wrong, we were told, look it up. Do you know what that word means? Look it up. And we had to look it up in an actual dictionary with actual paper pages. We knew alphabetical order. Have you noticed that hardly anything online is in alphabetical order anymore? If you're trying to look something up, like my Pinterest boards, if I'm trying to look for something that I have put in my Pinterest boards, they're not in alphabetical order. There are so many things here lately that are not in alphabetical order, and it drives me nuts. It's like, what are you guys doing? It's just they assume that if you're going to look something up, it's going to be either the most looked up thing or the last thing that you did. And no, if I'm looking it up, it's probably something that was a while back that I haven't looked up for a while, honestly. So their logic is not logicking with me. Okay. So anyway, I think we as believers need to practice what we preach. I mean, not that we're preaching, but we need to actually be looking back at the meanings of things and thinking about what it is that we are saying. There was a whole movement, what, 20 years ago, speak life, but we're not, because we don't even know the etymology. Oh, I got it. Because we don't even know the etymology of what it is that we're saying, of the words that we're using. Um, One of my friends has been on a rant here lately about self-care. Look up the word care. People don't like what is in the Old Testament, the law. You know, Yeshua came and did away with the law, because the law was all sacrifice and affliction, and he wants love, love, love. Well, that's what care actually means: sacrifice and affliction, grief. And we're supposed to be laying that on the cross. But instead, people are trying to pick that up and hold it for themselves. Which, if you went back and you looked at what the affliction and stuff is supposed to be, poor Pistol, he's naked. Um, we had to kind of shave him down. He's not the prettiest Shih Tzu in the world anymore. Anyway, with it, we're trying to take this on ourselves and say, oh, we need to take care of ourselves and blah, 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 blah. Well, the law tells you how to do that, but you don't want to. You want to go out and you want to get your fingernails painted. You want to get, a pedicure and a manicure and take your me time and blah, 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 blah. But if you actually looked at the Old Testament law, you would see that it tells you to do that. It says once a month, ladies, go outside of the camp and get some alone time and rest and take care of yourself. It's not saying that because you're unclean, as in gross. It's saying that because you need to be away from people for a little bit and you need to be taking care of yourself. Therefore, you need to be outside of the camp where the worries of family and community aren't keeping you on your toes right now. And you've got a community and an extended family that can help with your responsibilities during that 1 week a month, so you can take a week off. Instead, women are going into careers or jobs where they've got this whole 9 to 5 thing and they can't take time off. And then you've got your activities and all of your other stuff. So anyway, we're going to look into some words. I'm going to pause because I've got some meat on the stove I need to get stirred up. And then we're going to resume this, and hopefully I can make it through what should we be calling ourselves. So, hey, where are you? Okay, deer meat has been stirred. Okay, so my favorite um what should we call ourselves in the Bible is a peculiar people. There's several places in the Bible that this happens, that this is said. Um, it means in all of these places, in all of the places in the Bible that you see peculiar, and usually it's in King James, it means possession, treasure, special possession, and that is possession as in, something you own. Jewel, peculiar treasure. I don't know why I put peculiar in there. Proper, good, special, special, peculiar treasure. Chosen, possession, acquisition, preservation. Okay? Those are the different places in the Bible. It's a few different words that are used in the Greek and the Hebrew. Okay? We have Exodus 19:5. Now, therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then you shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. So, a peculiar treasure is one word, okay, in Hebrew. Deuteronomy 14:2, for thou art a holy people unto Yahweh thy Elohim, and the Lord has chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself above all the nations that are upon the earth. Deuteronomy 26:18, and the Lord has vouched thee this day to be his peculiar people, as he has promised thee, and thou shouldst keep all his commandments. Okay, Psalm 135:4. For Yahweh hath chosen Jacob unto himself, and Israel for his peculiar treasure. Ecclesiastes 2:8. I gather me also silver and gold, and the peculiar treasure of kings and of the provinces. That one goes on a little bit more. Okay, Titus 2:14. Who gave himself for us, talking about Yeshua here, that he might redeem us from all iniquity and purify unto himself a peculiar people, zealous of good works. Okay? And yes, I am emphasizing the commandments and the works, because while we are saved through grace alone, yes, we are saved through grace alone. Consistently in the Bible, all the way through to Revelation, it says, those who keep my commandments, those who do good works. You follow through with that salvation, with that accepting by your actions. Because out of the heart come the words of our mouth and the actions of our hands. That's important consistently in the Bible. If you do not believe that, you don't belong here. Please don't leave a comment. We don't need it. Just move on. Okay. 1 Peter 2:9. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. Okay, the etymology of peculiar from the mid-15th century, that's the 1400s, I have to remind myself. Belonging exclusively to one person, also special, particular. It's from Old French, and I'm not even going to try to speak French, and directly from the Latin of one's own property. Let's see, private property, literally property in cattle, because, you know, land and cattle, it is still I absolutely believe that that is still the actual measure of wealth more than silver and gold. You can't eat silver and gold, okay? You just can't. It's the big landowners. From, let's see, pecu, cattle or flock, related to pecus, cattle. So anyway, that is the etymology of peculiar. That's my favorite. That is just my favorite. Being called a peculiar person, just that's my favorite thing to be called. You can call me peculiar all day and all night, and I'll be happy. Peculiar treasure. Maybe I should tell ChatGPT, instead of calling me Princess Donita, maybe it needs to be Donita, Princess Donita the peculiar treasure of Yahweh. Yeah. The problem is whenever it's helping me with things, then it's always, anyway. And I don't talk to Chat GPT. I'm just going to say this. I do not talk to Chat GPT. We don't have, yeah, I use the written form, and I type things in, usually copy and paste it and things like that. So yeah, um, there's that. Okay, my first problem is the word church. And some of you may have already heard this. The word church actually comes from a deity, a pagan, Roman, Greek deity, Circe. And it actually kind of means circus, okay? So the word church is not in the Bible at all. If you believe that Yeshua came to earth and spoke King James English, then again, you don't belong on this channel. Please don't leave your comment. Nobody cares. Scroll on. So, in Greek mythology, Circe, Kirke, um, is an enchantress, sometimes considered a goddess or a nymph. The word nymph actually means bride. The word nymph is the word used in the New Testament, especially in Revelation, to talk about the bride of Yeshua, of the Messiah. Can you hear him howling upstairs? He's so sad. In most accounts, she's described as the daughter of the sun god Helios and the Oceanid Persei. She was renowned for her vast knowledge of potions and herbs. Through the use of those and a magic wand or staff, she would transform her enemies or those who offended her into animals. And in the Odyssey, she turned Odysseus's crew into pigs. So anyway, yeah, that's where church comes from. Let's see. Let's see. Best known in the legends told in Homer's Odyssey when Odysseus visits her island of Ae. It's A-E, you know how they put the A and the E together? It's A-E-A-E-A. On his way back from the Trojan War, and she changes his crew into swine. Now, this A-E, where the A and the E are stuck together, and A-E-A-E-A is, they said, a mythological island said to have been her home, okay? And then I looked up the Norse, and some of the gods, okay, for a better word, of the Germanic paganism, the Norse, is the Aesir, Aesir, is pronounced Os, okay? I guess that's how, or Ase, Ase. Anyway, the old Nordic religion and mythology, let's see, the precise meaning is debated, as it can refer to either to the gods in general or specifically to one of the main families of them. And that's more what I'm seeing and what I'm looking at. So, somebody proposed that the term instead derives from the Asians, the Germanic word for Asians, and the idea that their gods originated from Asia, which is interesting, later migrating to Northern Europe. So most scholars don't go into that, but this makes sense to me, okay? that this Greek goddess that we get the word church from was a bride, a nymph, a bride from Asia. Does that not make sense? I'm just putting things together here. So, but it says, let's see. This is not supported by modern scholars. It's attributed to medieval scholarship on the matter and an attempt to connect Scandinavian people with classical antiquity and Christianity rather than a reflection of actual Germanic mythology. So I would sit here and say that modern scholars are trying to separate the Germanic history that is connected to the Bible, and that the medieval scholars might have actually known what they were talking about. So, my opinion here. Okay, the next word, hopefully I've got enough time. It does not tell me how much time I have. Hopefully it won't cut me off. Okay, Nephilim. The next word, Nephilim. Okay, so we know, hopefully everybody here knows what the Nephilim are. The Hebrew verbal root of Nephilim is basically an NPL, okay? And I still don't have the names of the letters and everything figured out, but when it's transliterated to what we understand, it's NPL, which means fall, which makes sense, okay? In Hebrew, it comes from nephal, fall, fell, fallen, falls, cast, fell down, cast down, okay? Um, the biblical offspring have the sons of God and the daughters of men before the flood, and of uncertain and much disputed etymology. Because, of course, they always want to take the etymology back to the Greek and the Latin. I wonder what they do with the Asian languages if you're wanting to look up an etymology, or if there is even such a thing as an etymology. Since they're actually like pictographs, they have a story in the actual pictograph. So that would be a different thing. One of these days I might get to that. In Norse cosmology, Niflheim or Niflheimr is the world of mists, literally home of mist. Okay, so if we're thinking about the Nephilim, the giant trees, and there was a mist coming up from the ground, and there didn't need to be any rain on the earth. There was no rain on the earth, right? There was no rain on the earth. There was a mist coming up from the ground. Home of mist is a location which sometimes overlaps with the notions of Niflheim and hell, which we'll get to hell. Hell in Norse mythology is another interesting step in this. The name Niflheimr appears only in two extant sources, and one of them is much debated. Again, I just want to know what they are, what they say, and I will decide if I want to debate it or not, because I'm coming from a different perspective than I think the scholars are. They wouldn't like me. Etymology, Nifl, N-I-F-L, mist, whence the Icelandic Nifl is a cognate to the Old English Nifol, dark and gloomy, and the Dutch Nevel, Nevel, Old High German Nebul, Nebul, which means fog, and then the ancient Greek means cloud. Interesting. So, let's see. In the Hebrew, it is aid, like AYD or ADE, pronounced that way anyway. Witness, testimony, mist, vapor. Okay? Ud, to bear witness, to testify, to warn, to admonish. Brand, firebrand, firebrands. And I found that this was the mist, right? Okay, so interesting, right? So the Hebrew for fall, uh, and the Nephil, we have the letters. I'm going to go through the letters. Nun is the first letter, N-U-N, is how we do. It's the 14th letter. And, oh, I should show this too. Okay, let's see. All right, and let's see. Let's view full screen. All right, so Hebrew, fall, nun, 14th letter, okay, and it gives you the Phoenician, the Hebrew, the Aramaic, the Syriac, the Arabic, the numerical value, okay, there's a lot here, okay, the Phoenician and Greek letters and Latin N. Etruscan is this. Okay, so we have this, we have this. Ooh, that didn't show very well. But the ancient Hebrew, in ancient Hebrew, this is the Paleo Hebrew, is the way I understand it, is a cross. None is believed to descend from the Egyptian hieroglyph of the snake, the Nakash. So we have none. We have the fall. It's this one right here because Hebrew is backwards, right? It goes from here to here. Okay, it goes right to left instead of left to right. So it's the first letter that is used for fall and that is used for Nephilim. Nakash. Okay, let's see. And it's hypothesized that it comes from the hieroglyph of a fish in water as its origin. Again, wow, right? Okay, we're talking about mist. We're talking about the Nephilim. We're talking about fish in water. We have a cross. Wow. Okay, don't do that. Okay, so if we go back to the Akkadian, nun means fish, large fish or whale. The Phoenician letter was also named nun, fish, but this name has been suggested to descend from a hypothetical Proto-Canaanite word, nas, meaning snake. So we've got these conflicting things going on with this one letter. And this is why Hebrew isn't just a cut and dry thing, okay? We need to start thinking of Hebrew letters, of the like the Paleo Hebrew, the old Hebrew, not necessarily the modern Hebrew as much, but the Paleo Hebrew as like Viking runes, okay? So the next you have is Pe, is the next letter, this upside down G. Pe, which comes from, it's either a P or an F, Pe or Fe, okay? It's a P or an F, and this is probably where we get the PH thing going on, is because whenever we're trying to translate or transliterate to English, it comes out an F, a P, or a PH, okay? The original sound is a voiceless okay? However, let's see, under Persian influence, the Arabic dialect of the Persian Gulf, as well as Egypt, and under some Ottoman influences uses the letter P to represent the sound P, which is missing in modern Arabic. Okay, but it is tied to the Greek pi, Latin P. Okay, so that's interesting. It's usually assumed to come from the pictogram of the mouth. So we have the fish in water or the snake, and we have mouth. So that's interesting. Okay, Lamed is the next one. And this is the Paleo Hebrew or the Old Hebrew of it. And it goes different ways depending on if it's Phoenician, Aramaic, Arabic, okay, the different directions. You would think that this would be a J in some instances, but it's not. It's more like the L, the Latin L. That's where we get our L. And letter usually considered to originate from the ox goad or cattle prod or the shepherd's crook or a pastoral staff. So, again, we have the fish snake cross, and then we have the mouth pefe, and then we have the shepherd's crook staff. Norse. Let's go to Norse, okay? Neville. Nadiz is also a cross. Isn't that interesting? There's an I in this one, is as, which is actually, turns into an ice, meaning ice. Let's see. This one means need or distress. Okay, which is interesting. And then you have ice. Kind of looks like an ice pick. Then you have fehu, which um which is the F. And the PHPF. Okay, let's see. And leaf or leaves. Okay. And then we have something that looks like a P, but it's called the win. And let's see, used to represent the W sound. It was a continued use from Anglo-Frisian runes. Adopted. Anyway, and then we have laguz, and this is the L, the letter L that it comes from. It means leak. Uh, it's also called ocean or waterfall. Here we have the water again happening in this. So it's going a different way, but interesting. So several correlations here that I'm seeing. Not exact, of course. And, some people might say that I'm stretching it a bit. And you can, if you want to, you can say that. But I just kind of to me, it's interesting. So, what is church in the Bible? It's ecclesia. Okay? It's ecclesia. Every single time in the New Testament, church is translated from the word ecclesia. Now, I do have a problem calling myself a part of the ecclesia just because it's become one of those words that a lot of like messianic and Torah keepers use to almost like make themselves sound smart or holier than thou, and I don't want to sound that way, so I just don't tend to use this word, but it is the word that is in the Bible. It is in there 111 times, translated into church, which we see what that means in the King James. So why was old King Jimmy, as David Carrico would say, translate? He didn't translate it. He hired it to be translated. Why did they translate ekklésia as church based off of Circus and Circe? Why? I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. So ekklésia is from a compound of ek and cleo, calio. So this is ek, from, out of, by, away from, and calio, to call, to name, to invite, bid, call forth, to name. So this is, I am calling you out of. So it's not a building, it's not a group, it is the called out. Again, the peculiar people. Why does that not work so well? They are the called away from, the called forth, we are the called away from, not the called into. Bid, invited away from, okay? Now, the word Christian is only in the Bible, in the King James, the results are only three times. We use this word all the time, but it is only in there 3 times. Ecclesia is in there 111, and the mainstream church does not use this word, okay? But this one's only in there 3 times, and it gets used all the time. And I would just say that for the past 35 years, this hasn't been a good word for most people, definitely in the US. Okay, so I'm going to question it. So this comes from the word Christos, and it is the Greek translation of the word Messiah, meaning anointed. We're English. Why do we need to use a Greek word to say anointed? We are anointed ones. We're not Christians, because the Greek considered anybody anointed from any of their pantheon. They were polytheistic. So it could be anointed from anywhere. So I don't want to use that word. It's only in there 3 times. I have never called myself, for a very long time, a Christian. I call myself a Bible believer because that separates me from a majority of people who have been called out, called away, but many of them are not living that anointed life, right? So, yeah, a Messiah means anointed, spread, anointing oil, painting, ointment, consecrated, portion. Here's another one, the remnant. This is one that I like to use. There's 91 results in the King James for remnant. So to me, again, there's only 3. There's 111. And we have remnant is in there 91 times. So wouldn't that make sense? So in the Hebrew, it's to spread, to extend, to go beyond. Overlapping part. This is in the Old Testament. This was the leftovers, the remaining overs, the excess, the to abound. Does that not remind you of the verse that says, "My cup runneth over"? Okay, when we're giving to others in our lives and we're sacrificing for others, those that we love, you don't want to just pour out your cup to them. They get the overflow, Okay? You need to make sure your cup is being filled. This isn't self-care. This is having that connection with our Creator and that relationship with Him so that He is pouring into, you're holding your cup up to Him so He can pour into you and your overflow goes into everybody else. I hope that makes sense. So, it's several different words in the Hebrew that are used for that are translated as remnant. Okay, and it all means to remain over, to have access, to abound, to be left over, excel, preserve, okay, excess, advantage, cord, remainder, okay. And then in the Greek, in the New Testament, we have remaining, rest, other, remaining ones, remnant, to leave, to forsake, to lack, need, and remains. So remnant ends up like shifting gears into we're not only left over, okay, or have that excess, but we're also supposed to leave, forsake the other, right? So we're leaving and forsaking our past and the flesh, right? So that we can overflow for Him. And that's how I'm taking it. So anyway, I thought that was really good. So the remaining ones, Revelation 20, and I saw the deed, small and great, stand before, oh, the dead, sorry, small and great, stand before God, Yahweh, our Creator. And the books were opened, and another book was opened, which was the book of life. So there is more than one book, guys. There's more than one book. And the book of life was open, and the dead were judged out of those things that were written according to their works. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell are delivered up, and the dead which were in them, and they were judged, every man according to their works. I need to check my meat again. Oh, okay. Stop screen share. I'm still recording. Good. Resume recording. Okay, so let's see. The word work here is ergon, which I think is kind of fun. Aragon. It's not Aragon and it's not Aragon. Anyway, Aragon. Work, deed, action, task, labor, toil, and behavior. That's what we will be judged by. It says it twice in Revelation right there. We will be judged by our behavior, our works, our deeds, our actions in the book of life, with the book of life open, okay? So if your name is written in the book of life, it's written in the book of life. So why would you be judged by your works? Well, that will tell, that will put your placement in the kingdom, okay? I aspire to be one of the kingdom's librarians. Okay, I want a little place on the new earth with a log cabin and a big English garden and my pets. Okay, but then I want to spend some time in the city, in the great city, in the library. Now, some people might watch this and think that's silly. But then you have other people who think that everybody's going to have their own mansion, and which isn't actually built. The word mansion means room. Room in my Father's house, not a mansion all of your own. That just always sounded so lonely to me. I like my solitude, don't get me wrong. I am a hermit, but I do not. Who wants to be stuck in a mansion by yourself. I mean, and cleaning it, which there might not be dust in heaven. I mean, on the new heaven and new earth. I don't know. Or you may get your own little legion of angels to clean up after you. I have no idea how that works, but I don't think it works the way I had it envisioned as a child, if you know what I mean. So, if your name's written in the book of life, that's the big important thing, okay? I'm not debating that. But, think ahead because it's going to be eternity. You're not just going to be sitting there in your little white clothes strumming on a harp. There's going to be things to do. The kingdom is it's a kingdom. It's a civilization of its own. What are we going to be doing there? Um, yeah, yeah. There's one particular group of people who believes that every man is going to have his own planet full of virgins that he's going to keep eternally pregnant. Now, that's way out there, guys. Yeah, does not sound heavenly to me at all. So, hopefully everybody here on this channel knows better, okay? Okay, Revelation 21 at 4. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. And he that sat upon the throne, behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, Write, for these words are true and faithful. And he said unto me, It is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give, unto him that is athirst of the fountain of the water of life freely. He that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, his Elohim, his creator, and he shall be my son. So I think that's amazing. We aren't in Revelation 21 yet. I do not believe that we are. Um, I know some people do, but I don't believe that we're there yet. Um, we're not even in Revelation 12 or Revelation 2012 yet. Okay. So I think these are things that we have to look forward to. Definitely. Whether it's in a spiritual way or a real physical way. I believe more in the real physical way. Um, but that's encouraging. Let's see, how many more pages? Oh, I've only got two left. Okay, Army of One. I think I'm still doing good on time. It's not cutting me off yet. Yay. Army of One. In Norse mythology, I'm going to go back there. There is this thing called the einherjar. I don't know that I'm saying it right. Okay, I'm probably not. Um, Singular einherji, literally army of one, those who fight alone, are those who have died in battle and are brought to Valhalla by the Valkyrie. Okay? Does this not feel like where we kind of are right now? And if you have not joined my community yet, if you've made this so far here, the Prairie group is free, okay? And we meet once a month so that we can fellowship together with other like-minded believers. We don't all agree with each other all the time, but I don't even agree with myself on a regular basis. So I invite you, if you have not joined and you are feeling isolated and feeling like you are an army of one right now, fighting alone, please join us. Please, please, please join us. The link's in the description. So, um, it just, we need this fellowship because we are the remnant. We are the ones who have been called out. We are the peculiar people. I mean, everybody thinks we're crazy right now, right? And there are more of us. The remnant's growing. It is. But, I think we all feel this, that we have been this army of one. We've been fighting alone. Don't be, you don't need to be alone anymore. In Norse mythology, Valhalla is the Hall of the Slain. It's described as a majestic hall located in Asgard and presided over by Odin. There were 5 possible realms that the soul could travel after death. And the first was Folk Wagner, the field of the host, and it's a meadow or field road ruled by Freya, which is lady or mistress. The second is Hel. I told you we were going to come back there. It's Hel, just one L, ruled by Hel, one L. Loki's daughter. It's a concealed place, the underworld. Okay. The third was that of Ran, which is a personification of the sea, which means plundering, theft, robbery. Okay. The fourth was the burial mound where the dead could live. So that's interesting. And then the fifth was Valhalla, ruled by Odin, and was called the Hall of the Heroes. Mountain or rock of the slain. I thought that was very interesting as well. So many tie-ins between the Norse and what we have in scripture. So the masses of those killed in combat known as the einherjar, along with various legendary Germanic Hebrews and kings, live in Valhalla until Ragnarök, which is the end. This also goes with the biblical narrative in Revelation. When they will march out during Ragnarök of its many doors to fight in aid of Odin against the Jotnar, the giants, against the giants, okay? Valhalla was idealized in Viking culture and gave the Scandinavians a widespread cultural belief that there is nothing more glorious than death in battle. So anyway, that's where you get this. It's valor, the slain, and Hol, which originally referred to rocks and mountains. So Valhalla is the slain of the rock. These are the saints, people. This is what they are talking about. These are the saints. Okay? I mean, this is just I think this is amazing the way that this is. Everything, whenever it moves from one place to another, gets changed a little bit. We're talking about lots of word of mouth, lots of you know, the stories that were written down have been hidden from us, right? Um, they want us to believe that they didn't survive or that these people weren't smart enough to write things down. But that's not true because there are some places where things are written on huge stones and stuff that they haven't got, that turned up later, or that they were not able to destroy for some reason, or pick up and move and hide from people. So it just it's been fascinating for me how these things go together. So I did look up, there's a Hebrew word called vekhala. And it comes from the word chala, meaning bride or daughter-in-law. Kala also means to complete, perfect, finish, and accomplish. So I'm bringing this together. I mean, I probably need to show you. Let me screen share. Not that one. Here we go. Let me screen share again. Share. Okay. So look at this. So we've got Valhalla. Okay. All right. And then we have this Hebrew word here. Does it not look similar? I mean, just when our Creator preserves things, He doesn't always preserve things in the way that we think He will. Okay? The word Valkyrie, the Valkyrie were the ones are the ones that gather the einherjar and take them to Valhalla, right? It derives from the Old World Norse, which is composed of two words again, referring to the slain on the battlefield, and another word here meaning to choose. So the Valkyrie are the chooser of the slain. So, I mean, and then we have he the words for hell or the underworld word in the Bible are Sheol, Gehenna, and Tartaro. All right, grave, hell, pit, Gehenna, hell, to cast into Tartarus, to confine in hell. Okay, again, interesting. So we need to remember, put on the whole armor of God. Because, I mean, we're told in the New Testament to put on the whole armor of God. This isn't just for protection. We've got a sword. Yes, we have armor for protection. We have a shield for protection if you go through Ephesians 6. But we also have a sword of truth. We're supposed to be ready for battle. And there came unto me one of the seven angels, which had the seven vials full of the seven last plagues, and talked with me, saying, Come hither, I will show you the bride. Again, that word is nymph, the Lamb's wife. And the Spirit and the bride say, Come. And let him that heareth say, Come. And let him that thirst come. And whosoever will, let him take the water of life freely. So anyway, I hope this was encouraging to you. I've been really enjoying this study. I just, it goes so many places. And the thing about rabbit holes is there's lots of little areas to go. You know, it's not just a hole in a den. It could be, but you know, generally speaking, the rabbit holes we've got, you know, other little areas that we can enter. And we need to remember that everybody's kind of entering the rabbit hole in different places, and everybody's taking little different twists and turns and stuff. We're all running into little different things, right? And we all have different perspectives and different paths that we're coming from, right? So we need to be understanding with each other and, uh, you know, be those peculiar people, those called out that Yeshua said, they will know you by your love. So if we're nitpicking and judging each other according to that's not what the scripture says and blah 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 blah, well, what the Holy Spirit is saying to me through His Word, His living Word, where each letter has a deeper meaning, and what He's telling you with the same words can be vastly different things for how He wants us to apply them in our lives. So there's no room here. You know, when we're supposed to be judging each other's fruit, not the actions, not how we're applying the word. We're supposed to be judging the fruit. So, what fruit do each one of us have? Um, and I would admonish, if you've made it this far, I felt the need to do some little admonishment. If you're watching somebody online, there's been a few people that I have stopped watching that I really enjoyed, that they had good information, that they had interesting insight, but they've started poking at each other and calling each other out in ways that, well, just period. Um, this person isn't biblical, and this, you know, usually whenever I am pointing out, he's howling again. Whenever I'm pointing out something, I may see a lot of what I do videos on is fodder from other people's stuff. Okay. So people send me videos all the time, and a lot of what I do videos on, especially the shorter stuff, is based off of somebody else's, but I hardly ever, sometimes I'll stitch somebody, but I usually that will be more of an encouragement because I want you to go back and watch their video, right? Um, I'm not usually going to just call out another believer specifically and say this person's wrong. Um, because we are all applying the scripture in different ways to our lives, and the Holy Spirit speaks to us differently. So if there's something that's completely unbiblical, their fruit's going to show it. So I just ask you to be discerning. And if people start gossiping back and forth on each other or railing on each other, I would encourage you or challenge you to stop watching them, because that's not, people aren't going to know us by our love when we're doing that. So anyway, that's my thoughts there. I hope it means something to you. I'm assuming somebody was needing to hear that. So again, come to the community. The Feast of Trumpets book is out. I should have mentioned that earlier. The Feast of Trumpets book is available now. I think the paperback's available. My proof is supposed to be here pretty soon, so I can double check it and everything, but it should be available soon. The Kindle is available on Kindle Unlimited if you have that. So it's time to get ready for that. And the Day of Atonement book will be out soon. So, check it out on Amazon. It should be available on, Barnes and Noble and stuff like that at some point too. I'm not sure when. But anyway, glad to be back, guys. Definitely leave your thoughts in the comments. I've missed y'all. So we will talk to you all later.